All right, this is Martin at Reform Body Clinic, and I'm going to shoot the most relevant video for you specifically who sit at home, whether you're a student watching this or your new home office is where you spend most of your time. Anybody who sits a lot knows that posture gets incredibly hard as the day goes on. And if I would demonstrate, usually starts off after your first coffee, something like this. And by the second or third phone call, it tends to be like this. And at the end of the day, barely hanging on like this. So this will end up with very, very stereotypical patterns of tightness, weakness in certain areas. In fact, so much that textbooks have been written on this. I'm going to zoom in on a picture here that will give you a little bit more detail, but I'm going to talk my way through this because you end up with a very stereotypical pattern. And you can Google image search for something called upper cross syndrome if you'd like to get technical with the pictures. But I think without too much boring you too much, if you're slumping forward, your chest gets tight, okay? Your upper neck at the back gets tight, and muscles in your neck and your lower back get really weak. That's what's called upper cross syndrome. And what you can imagine is that tightness in the chest can restrict posture. It can restrict breathing. I think more relevant is the tightness in the upper neck, things like headaches, loss of motion, so your neck gets stiffer over time. And that weak lower back tends to give you things like burning between the shoulder blades, tightness that doesn't go away between the shoulder blades. So again, Google images it, it's great upper cross. But more importantly, what do you do about that now that you are sitting all day? So if you can visualize that posture where you end up tight through here and in essence stretched out and weak through the back, tightness at the front, weakness in the back, we're going to tackle both of them today. And actually in the research, it's really important which you tackle first. Do you stretch the tight stuff first? Or do you strengthen the back? And I think one of the mistakes I've seen over my decade and a bit in practice is people are like, oh, I got to strengthen my back, I got to strengthen my back. But that's actually wrong. The first thing we need to do is stretch out the front, get on a program for that, and then we're going to start strengthening the back. So just to recap, from sitting, we end up with tight, rounded chest, rounded shoulders, and literally a stretched out, unactivated middle back. And so which to do first, stretching the front or strengthening the back? Research would say we want to stretch out the front first. How we're going to do that is number one, pec major, which is your main chest muscle, gets a very good stretch with your arm like this. So you're 90 degrees, and you're stretching backwards. Second one, deeper muscles that actually helps pull the shoulder blade back. You're up at 135 degrees here, so you're much more open, and then you're leaning forward like this, okay? So what that would look like at home is on a corner or a corner wall at your house. First one would be 90-90, and you square yourself up and you lean forward. And you're going to feel a big stretch right to the chest sometimes. And then the second one, you're up high, so around 135. This is probably the more powerful of your stretches. So as you lean forward, your whole shoulder blade gets pulled back as you open the chest. Okay? All these stretches, so you'll do one like this, you'll do one like this. I would do them on both sides. And anywhere from 30 seconds minimum up to about 3 minutes. And I think the golden time is 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So once you've got a nice routine going of that, so you're stretching the front to counter the bad posture, then we want to start getting some activation in the back. And it's not so much building a strong muscle than what's called muscle activation. So for that, you're going to need a band, and courtesy of John at Actus Community Fitness here in Ottawa, we have a band, but any drugstore sells bands. This one's a circle, so it has multi-purpose, but you can also just have a straight band. You can use tons of things around the house as well. If you don't have a band, get creative. But really simply, with a band, with straight arms, you're going to pull the band apart until it touches your chest. And as you get practice with this, as you're pulling apart, the goal is to pull your shoulder blades together. So I'll actually turn all the way around. So the goal is to pull the band and the shoulder blades go together at the back. Hold for 1 second and come back, okay? So I hope that helps you a lot. So in terms of countering all the sitting, rounding, postural stress, we need to stretch the chest. We want to activate the muscles at the back. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you know someone who has, I want to say bad posture, but just, the stress of sitting and working and should watch this, tag them, share them, send them this for their own use. Thank you so much. Talk to you next time.